Hello everyone and welcome to another Starcraft 2 video. This has been a while. I have not been playing Legacy of the Void until this week. That's right, I pre-ordered the game and then never played it. um, the reason for that was I was seeing all the changes coming to Legacy of the Void, and a lot of them were going to be very difficult for Ravens to deal with, and then they went and nerfed Auto Turret and Seeker Missile into the ground. Or so I thought. We'll get to that in a minute. Um, so as you see here, for the auto turret, it used to last 3 to 4 minutes. Time has changed in Legacy of the Void, so I converted it to real time. But still, like 2 minutes, or with then it's upgraded 3 minutes, and it would do a potential 900 to 1200 damage. That means if you put down like 3 auto turrets in someone's expansion, um, and they didn't respond to it, they would lose all the workers and they lose the hatchery as well, which means they had to respond to this action. And that's something that doesn't exist anymore, the 7-second auto turret. Maybe you kill a few drones quicker, but then the auto turrets just disappear, which means your opponent never has to react to auto turret harass, which I think is the biggest strength. It's not that the auto turrets kill stuff, it's that it forces your opponent to do something. And then the Seeker Missile used to cost 125 energy back in Wings of Liberty, and no one really used it, including myself. And I go Mass Raven. I would still very rarely use it. When Heart of the Swarm came out, they nerfed the Seeker Missile in a bunch of different ways, but then more than made up for it by making it only 75 energy. In Legacy of the Void, they kept all the nerfs from Heart of the Swarm, but put the price back to 125. So it's like, ugh. um, yeah. And then on top of that, there's a whole bunch of difficulty for my build, like the hatchery tech, hatchery drop tech, Nidus worms that can't be targeted, liberators doing splash damage, parasitic bomb just murdering everything in the air, and yeah, I think unlike any other StarCraft 2 player, if I continued into Legacy of the Void, I would have had to kind of learn how to play from scratch because my whole playstyle that I developed was completely irrelevant from this point forward. But I started playing this week. I've played a few sessions, and I'm actually quite surprised with the new auto turret. The Seeker Missile is still a piece of garbage, but the new auto turret with that really high DPS actually has some pretty good uses. So here's some clips here. So here's a standard spot I'd be in Heart of the Swarm, where we're getting siege from the low ground onto my planetary and repairing the planetary. And normally I would have to pull out my Ravens to Seeker Missile. Well, now Seeker costs 125. So these Ravens have not spawned with close to enough. They only spawn with 75. And then even if you do Seeker the Siege Tanks, it costs 250 energy, and then now they can be picked up by Medivacs right away, so it doesn't really work. But the auto turret can take the role of this. Now the auto turret just spews out damage so quickly. For around the same energy cost as the old Seeker Missile, I can deal with Siege Tanks with this auto turret. So here I'm going to put down, it looks like, that's probably about 8 auto turrets, which is around the same amount of energy I would have spent. I would have spent 2 plus 3, 5 Seeker Missiles. Yeah, you can see not only is it going to take out. Okay, I pre-recorded the video, so it's going to be hard for me to talk in alignment with what the heck I was clicking on back then. Probably a smarter way to make this video. Oh well. Yeah, so we're going to come here with the 8 auto turrets, and you can see not only is it going to kill the 3 siege tanks, but it's also going to do significant damage to other things too. Like he loses a Viking, and he lost some Marines, and lost about half the hit points on his medevac. Yeah, so works pretty well for that. And the other thing is if he charges in to kill the auto turrets, oftentimes you're so here's another example of it. Again, taking out all the siege tanks and just like ripping into his army. Yeah, so anyways, if he tries to charge in his bio to attack the auto turrets to save his siege tanks, then the planetary gets into the action too, and you still won't save the siege tanks. Here's a larger one against kind of like a mech force. So we got 5 tanks, we got 2 banshees, 2 marauders, 2 Thors, all things that auto turrets used to do really poorly against. Even a couple of Reapers and Widowmine and Ghost, I think I saw there. So we're going to throw down, it looks like just 5 auto turrets. Yeah, just the 5 auto turrets. And with only 5 auto turrets against all that strong mech stuff, he's going to lose 2 siege tanks, a Marauder, a Reaper, a Viking. So I like this. The quick pickup of the medevacs on siege tanks can't apply anymore, so this auto turret's kind of taken over the role of the Seeker Missile in this matchup. Here we come back with a bunch more auto turrets, and yeah. Even things like Thors used to be a huge issue for me. I used to have to base trade when he was going Thors because the Ravens were so useless against it. Alright, so here's a spot where in the past, if I threw down auto turrets, it'd be like the worst waste of energy ever. You'd throw it down, you kill maybe a Zergling or 2. Because you're throwing down auto turrets like one at a time right in front of a Zerg army. But now, with the auto turrets doing a ton of damage and the duration not mattering when they're all going to die in 7 seconds anyways. You can see I just took out, I think, a Roach, almost about 20 Zerglings, and 5 or so Hydralisks. No, 3 Hydralisks? I don't know. I can't remember what the original count was. But yeah, like using auto turrets in the worst way possible, it still trades with really good value. I mean, basically, the thing I've noticed with auto turrets now, it's like it doesn't matter how you use them, you always get good value out of them. Doesn't mean you'll win, because there's more to the game than value. But yeah, it's pretty good. So here we have the new Ultralisks. They got 7 armor. And again, once something back in the past where auto turrets and planetaries were useless, I used to have to get battle cruisers or a bunch of banshees to deal with them. But now the auto turret's doing 21 damage per hit. It does get reduced to 14, but it used to be 8 damage, which should get reduced to 1. So instead of a 90% decrease, it's now only losing 33% because of that high armor. And still can kind of mess with its pathing. When you get crushed in a corner there, you can go ahead and use the Seeker Missile, because even against Ultras you get a little bit of splash damage. Plus the new Seeker does some more damage. You know, not a significant amount, but it's interesting. And where this is something I would never be able to deal with in the past, all of a sudden there's, what was that, 9 Ultralists with 7 armor, and gone. And it's basically all the auto turrets, because the PF doesn't do much. There was a siege tank at each base as well, but we'll get the auto turrets credit for this. So here we have the Corruptors and Mutalisks, and you just have to kind of survive it with PDDs. If you throw on enough auto turrets, you might be able to shoot them away. But here with the PDDs and auto turrets, even against the super high armor and high hit points of Corruptors, those things are just shredded. They're like falling faster than the Mutalisks used to. Now you can't set up a safe zone like you used to be able to do in Heart of the Swarm, where you just kind of hang out over the auto turrets, but now that you're fleeing, you can actually throw down auto turrets as you flee. I'm not sure if I got a picture of that in this video or not, but yeah, throwing down auto turrets as you flee will just like shred whatever's chasing you. So here we have it against the base. You can just see the worker count just getting massacred, and even killing some units that are off screen there. And yeah, command center is completely gone. So the damage is so fast that all of a sudden planetaries don't matter either, because they die so quick it almost makes a repair irrelevant. So here's the thing where throwing down auto turrets as you go. You can see those Vikings he just lost 2 Vikings on a tank just from throwing down 2 auto turrets as I fled. Going after a tech. Back in the day, you throw down like 9 or 10 auto turrets and he loses entire base. This is something where, the 900 potential damage turning into 200 is a big difference. You can still see it still shreds the air, making sense in there. But here I throw down just a ton of auto turrets hoping it work, and I throw down another batch, and I'm gonna throw down a whole another batch. I'm like, okay, that should be enough. Try to focus down the hive, and yeah, I come back again. So I'm spending like 5 times the amount on auto turrets to get rid of tech. So the idea of like killing tech, especially against Terran, where if you throw auto turrets on their production, they would have to send their army back. That doesn't really work so well anymore. Seeker Missile, the extra damage doesn't do that much. I mean, it's helpful, I guess, and the extra energy cost is completely terrible. But in this scenario, the ultimate endgame, since the tempo of the game doesn't matter anymore at this point, and just the value matters, it's okay that the energy cost is really high. So it's still just as useful as it used to be. So it's still kind of the ultimate endgame unit in a split map scenario. So here I'm against a Terran who's, he's got his own missile turrets and battle cruisers and Vikings and ghosts, and it's still not going to match up against the Ravens here. So it's kind of like the auto turret's taken the role of the Seeker Missile, and then the ultimate endgame, the Seeker comes back into relevance again. Because you can kind of wait as long as you want between fights in this sort of scenario. And who doesn't love Seeker Missiles hitting? So yeah, I kind of like it. I like that the nerf to Seeker Missile in many ways can be made up for with the use of the auto turret. The auto turret has lost its effectiveness in the way I used it in Heart of the Swarm, but in Legacy, you almost can't use it poorly, which kind of hurts. I like to think of myself as being able to do stuff other people can't, because I always knew like how to spend my energy, and now you can spend your auto turret energy however you want, and it's almost never wrong. You want to engage an army, that's fine. You want to use it on defense, that's fine. You want to use it on offense, that's also fine. You can use it basically against any unit composition. So yeah, that's my stuff here. I've played 3 sessions now this week, and I can't talk too much about how it is in terms of like I'm still figuring out build orders, and some things work and some things don't, and I'm basically winning every game, but I'm also was placed in Gold League, so it doesn't mean a whole lot. But the one thing I can talk about is this sort of interaction of the new auto turret, which I've seen here. So it's got me intrigued. There's still other things that are difficult, like hatchery tech. When I go PF first, and the Zerg does like a hatchery tech drop of Zerglings. So we're going to make some adaptations to the new things in Legacy of the Void, which I'm sure most people are used to. For me, I didn't even know a lot of these things. Yeah. So I don't think I have that much more to talk about. Somewhat regular content. I'm hesitant to say this because I don't really know, but I have been getting my stream set up to stream again, and I'd like to get YouTube content going again. I think I promised this once and it never happened, so I don't want to promise it again, but if you're a betting person, I would expect that you're going to see a lot more YouTube content and regular streaming happening once more of Legacy of the Void. So apologies I was gone for so long. Hope you guys welcome me back. And yeah, I'm already collecting the Zerg tiers in the 3 sessions I have played, so plenty of that to come. Thank you, everyone. I'm out of here. Goodbye.